JazzCast Pros.
Welcome to the Healthy Illness Podcast, the podcast helping you build healthier relationships while living with mental health conditions. I'm your host, and today, this episode is all about living without pain. And so if you, like me, experience chronic pain and you're wondering about ways to manage, one of the things that I have found helpful is mindfulness-based stress reduction and being able to use mindfulness to help me better understand and have a better relationship with my physical body. So, welcome to the podcast. I want to give you a little heads up about some incredible things that are coming and encourage you to subscribe to the podcast across the network because there's some incredible news coming out about the work being done at JazzCast Pros Network, and you want to be the first to know. So the best way to do that, head over to JazzCast Pros webpage. The best way to learn about what's happening is to subscribe to our podcast. So big shout out to all of the hosts over at the JazzCast Pros Network. It is a pleasure, an honor, a joy to be in this podcasting space with you all and to you for listening because you let me know that you hear me. And, I'm not going to lie. It's a little daunting to know that people are listening to your words and, you don't know which people are listening or which words they're hearing. But for you, thank you for always listening. And to be honest, when I hear from you, it's really serendipitous, perhaps, because it's usually when I'm at a place in my journey, mind, whatever, and I'm wondering, like, why am I doing, what? Is anybody, who's really listening? I don't know. Is it making an impact? And is any good coming from the podcast? And more than just the release I get by saying the words out loud, but is anyone receiving them, hearing them, listening? Is it helping anybody who is listening? And so you be letting me know. So thank you to you. Our time today, though, it's really interesting because talking about chronic pain and ways in which you can manage chronic pain and how chronic pain impacts and affects me in my day-to-day struggle. And I'm going to tell you about the day that I woke up pain-free. So I have had lower back pain for many decades. I've been here for almost 5 decades, and most of those decades I've had lower back pain. The surgery that you know about is in my upper back, and one would think that the lower back would be where the surgery would occur, but because that's where the pain has been. But the damage that was affecting my mobility was actually in my upper back. So there was never any pain in that space. It was literally just crushing my legs or crushing the nerves that allow my legs to move. And so that whole recovery process, healing process, learning to walk again, learning to use my body again, is separate from the pain that I live with, this chronic low back pain. The last couple years, I've developed some all over body pain and I have arthritis. And there's days that I wake up where my entire body hurts. All of the joints, all of the muscles. I'm just like the whole body hurts. And so there are different levels to my chronic pain experience. And there isn't one day where something on my body, usually my lower back, isn't hurting. And so a couple weeks ago, I am doing my day-to-day stuff, just out here living, going to work. I restarted physical therapy, and I'll tell you all about PT and the incredible progress being made there. But maybe I'll just drop that in today's episode. And so I went to PT and focusing on my lower back and get to work walking around, talking to folks, talking to my team. And I'm in a really great mood. Not that I'm not usually in a great mood. Well, I don't know. I think I am usually in a great mood, but those around me may think differently. Not really. No, for real. I'm usually in a great mood. And I would say that people that know me usually receive me and see me as, being in a great mood. I think those two things are pretty much in alignment. But this day was different. Very, very different. It didn't hit me that it was different until after physical therapy. After I'm at work, I'm in the office, and I was just talking to one of my teammates, and I'm walking back in my office, and I'm like, wow, I'm in a really great mood today. And then it hit me. I don't have any pain. My initial reaction was, oh my God, I do not have any pain. And so for me to not have pain in my back, in my knees, even where I had the surgery, it's not painful, but there's an awareness there that like surgery has occurred. And so that was still there, but the muscles around where the surgery were, like my muscles are usually tight, and I can feel the stiffness and things in my muscles. And I couldn't believe that I was actually having a pain-free experience. And so I practice mindfulness, that. And mindfulness really helps me not take the pain away, but have a different relationship, I'll say, with pain, in that it's not distress. It's just pain. It is there. I acknowledge it's there. And, I try and use it to guide my general healing. I use it now in physical therapy to gauge whether or not I should be doing more or less, or if what I'm doing is just right. And so I have a pretty cool relationship with pain, in that it's there. Mindfulness helps in that space, and being present and focusing on where the pain is, which is why I can tell you there are days where my whole body is in pain because of my mindfulness practices. And there are days that I could tell you only my knees hurt, or there's some light throbbing in my lower back, or, oh my gosh, I can't move. Mindfulness, well, me not moving because of pain is a little extreme for this example, but when my pain is more severe, mindfulness helps me in that space. Again, not to take it away, but for me to kind of dive deeper into it, not run from it. I do have to manage my pain with medication, but even that's a conscious decision. And I believe that I'm able to stay on low grade pain relief because I'm not trying to run from the pain, but I do kind of dive into it, sit with it, and acknowledge that it's there. And so to not have pain, I cannot tell you when the last time I was pain free, except for around the time of the surgery. And because of that, my second thought was, oh my God, what's wrong with my back? Because the last time that I was pain free was 3 years ago, right before my surgery, or 2 years ago, right before my surgery. And at that point, I couldn't walk. And so I was pain free because the spine was compressing on my nerves, and the nerves are what transmits, and the nerve endings transmit pain to the spine, and then to the brain, to the spinal cord, and then to the brain. And so the last time I was pain free, I couldn't walk. That was my second thought. Then I acknowledged that I was doing a little bit too much and wondering what was happening, instead of just being and sitting with the fact that I was pain free. And so I did a body scan just to feel the experience, to sit in the experience. And I'm not going to lie, I was happy to be pain free. I'm not going to, sit here and tell you that, because of mindfulness, I do not experience joy and sorrow. That's not true, or joy and pain in this case. I do experience those things, but I wanted to just sit in the joy of realizing that I was pain free. And there is something in that process, at least for me, there was in taking a moment, pump the brakes, and acknowledge and feel and be in that moment of pain freeness. Because if you have chronic pain, you may know, and everyone's experience is different, but it's a different kind of living with chronic pain. There's still laughter, there's still joy, there's still happiness, there's still travel. There's not bike riding yet. Back to not bike riding, but that is for another episode. But there is something in being pain-free. I just, in taking the time to sit in it, allowed me to also see that I do show up differently when I'm in pain. My mind is sometimes on a scale of presentness, more present with the pain and not present in my environment. And that's a part of the journey, right? And not just sitting in and owning the pain and feeling the pain, but do I need to take medication? And then trying to stop the spiral of wondering about the pain. Not only do I need to take medication, but is this going to get worse? Is this just, a low grade situation that's just going to stay there? Or is it going to amplify? Am I going to get those sharp pains that take my breath away? Or will it just be this chronic kind of dull pain? Is it going to be sciatica and it shoots down my legs? Or is it just going to rest in my lower back? All of these questions about what could possibly be. And so taking time to check my thoughts and bring it back to the fact that I was pain-free and just enjoying that moment. And so if you, like me, experience chronic pain and you're wondering about ways to manage, one of the things that I have found helpful is mindfulness-based stress reduction. And being able to use mindfulness to help me better understand and have a better relationship with my physical body. Having whatever's, happening here with the lower back, the full body pain, the joint pain, if it's arthritis or something else, who knows? Whatever the diagnosis is and root cause of what's causing these systemic issues, it's this understanding and acceptance that I will always be in pain. So just a pretty dope moment, and also a moment of hope that I will not always be in pain. But if that is my path, so be it. I am doing my best to just focus on this moment. And in this moment, there is some pain there. I just felt a twinge when I moved a little bit. And that's okay, right? But owning that relationship with my body and celebrating the fact that I had this moment of pain-free living, and how can I have more moments like that? And so it did cause me to begin to evaluate what was happening to be able to figure out if I could make this happen again. And so I can tell you, I have not figured out what the thing was, what I was sitting with, or what was allowing me to be pain-free. I am, though, and paying attention and being more mindful in the food that I'm eating, and in the fluids I'm drinking. Am I dehydrated? Am I well hydrated? Beginning to really evaluate and pay attention to those things in my life, and kind of compare those to my pain level. I told you I'm in physical therapy, and again, physical therapy for my lower back, and that may have been the cause for my pain-free day. It has not returned, and I don't know if it will or if it won't. It is what it is and will be, but that could be playing a part in it. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing and okay with being on this journey of exploration, because I believe that this time that I get to spend not just living, but sharing with you and living and working through what's happening in my life has been helpful and beneficial to you. And to kind of full circle moment it, being and hearing from you and how you're doing and how this work impacts you and how the podcast, impacts you, how the storytelling impacts you, the, guests and the impact of their stories have on you, has been letting me know in those times of need and questioning if the work is working, that indeed it is. And so hopefully you are encouraged, if you are living with chronic pain, to seek all of the ways in which healing occurs, and maybe learning more about mindfulness-based stress reduction. Like, did I have a good morning in meditation? Like, maybe, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the secret equation was for that pain-free day. But accepting what is, while also looking and working towards having more of those days. But I won't be greatly disappointed with my life if I don't have another one, right? I'm okay in this space. And my hope is that you are too. So let me know. Let me know if you live with chronic pain, what that life is like for you in your healing process and finding the things that work. That's also a part of it, right? Like, some of the things that we try just will not work, because that thing may not be meant for us. Maybe it's meant for you and not meant for me, and vice versa. But it's the path and journey of finding the things, of doing the testing, of finding and having those aha moments, and shifting of perspective on what pain defines and doesn't define, in our lives, and being able to do more despite some of the challenges that we may be having. And that's the space that I'm finding myself in. This PT with pain evaluation, being mindful in that space and owning it, and working through and sitting with pain has been interesting, to say the least. And I would say made that pain-free day more enjoyable, because I actually noticed that I wasn't in pain, or versus having that whole day pass me by and never having the realization that I was not in pain. Would have been just as, tragic, but it would have been a missed opportunity to be present in that space of me being pain-free. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what's happening. And again, let me know what's happening for you. Until the next time, I encourage you to be the light. We've got some guests coming up, and I do have an announcement on some work I'm doing this fall. So like, subscribe, and share. Let me know how you're dealing with chronic pain, what works for you, and what are some things that perhaps you've heard from others that have worked for them. I'll see you out there somewhere. Until the next time, be the light.